Very pretty.
They decide who they like, who they tolerate, who they absolutely can't stand. So it can be a long process. But most importantly, all of our cats are registered in the World Stud Books to ensure their genetic diversity, so that when we breed, we're not inbreeding any of our animals. So that is a little bit about us. We'll get started with Miss Sugar here. Now, Sugar here is a royal white Bengal tiger. She's not albino. There's no such thing as a snow tiger, and she's not Siberian. Only Bengals can be white, and that is due to a recessive gene that both parents must have. So as long as two orange tigers carry the gene, they can produce a single white cub. But the white tiger is extinct in the wild and has been since 1951. Odds that you're ever going to get to see it in the wild? Slim to none. 1 in every 10,000 births results in a white tiger cub being born. With only 26 to 2,700 Bengals, no stripes. From light yellow like she has, to dark blacks, chocolates, even combinations of the colors. Everything is unique to that individual. Good girl! So, any questions on little Sugar? Pounds. But we share our planet with 37 species of cat, numerous subspecies. Only 7 are actually classified as big. The rest are small to medium, 50 pounds or less. Like little Trooper here. Oops, that was a terrible throw. Sorry, Troop. Now, Trooper here is not the world's smallest cat. That title goes to what is called the rusty spotted cat. Weighs in at 2.5 pounds. Said to be the most vicious cat on the planet. The rule of thumb is the smaller the cat, the more vicious they are. Are you coming up? They have to be if they're going to survive. Imagine living in a world with giants, something 100 times your size. 7.5 pounds. He is the Asian leopard cat. He is the 3rd smallest cat. But of all of our small cat species, geographically, they occupy the largest territorial range. You'll find them all throughout Asia, India, the far east of Russia, into the eastern halves of Europe, Middle East, and some of the islands off the coast of Japan. Now, get the name the clouded leopard from that pattern that they have. Large circular rosettes. Look a lot like clouds. But this cat is unique for a couple of reasons. For one, this is the closest living relative to the saber-toothed tiger. And that is because in proportion to its skull, it has the largest canine teeth, 2 inches. Now that doesn't seem very big when you compare that to, say, a tiger whose canines are 4 inches, but 2 inches on a 50-pound cat is massive. Also, the ability, like the saber-tooth, they can fully open and extend their jaws 180 degrees wide, so they can get the teeth around the necks of their prey. Now, they also have something else that's unique to them, and that is an adaptation in the wrist. See, cats are digigrade, which means they walk on their toes. They do not have a rotational wrist. They can only go forward and backward. What's it called? Louder. Clouded leopard, ocelot, the oncilla, and the margay climb down head first. With all 4s, they can walk underneath things as well. Part of the reason why you see a roof on this enclosure. As opposed to the big guys, they don't have that adaptation. They cannot maneuver out those angled tops. Are you going to do a climb? Maybe. Now, unfortunately, we don't know a whole lot about the clouded leopard. Everything we have learned is through captive management. We don't know a single thing of their breeding habits in the wild. We know very little of their hunting. But now, thanks to modern day technology, researchers can get in, set up trail cams, and get out quick. So we're not disrupting their natural behaviors. And we're starting to learn a few things. Now, it was once believed that this is a totally arboreal cat, spending its entire life high up in the canopies. Turns out that's not true. It spends just as much time on the ground as it does in the trees, but it's more equipped for tree life with that wrist adaptation, those short little legs, and of course that tail, the 2nd longest tail of any cat. You're not climbing today? Louder. Now, we've also learned a couple other things about this cat. There used to be 4 subspecies of clouded leopard. 2 went extinct. In 1931, the Formosian clouded leopard was classified as an extinct species. We haven't had a sighting since. But recent years, cameras have been set up in some very remote areas, areas that humans have yet to inhabit. And we're starting to get sightings of a cat, one that they do believe could be the once thought extinct Formosian clouded leopard. So they could still thrive in some remote areas. But unfortunately, that's not giving us much hope for the future of this. Over 40 days. Just just depends on where you're from as to what you call them, but they are all the same thing. But like people, we come in different shapes and sizes, different colors, so do the cats. Cougars can be as small as 50 pounds, they can be as large as 300 pounds. It's all about prey and their environment. Larger prey items mean larger cats. Now coat colors will vary from light grays, light browns, tawnies, reds, oranges, and even very deep chocolates. So it's all about camouflage. Now they are the shyest out of all the big cats. Chances are you've been to the parks camping, hiking. They've seen you. You had no idea that they were there. They do try to avoid us. Now it's a shy cat because it is a cat that purrs, just like a house cat. It does not roar. One cat cannot physically do the other. Only 4 cats have that ability to roar. And those are lions, tigers, jaguars, and leopards. All other cats purr. But in general, cats have more than 100 different vocalizations, from growls, chirps, hisses, tweets, meows. That mountain lion scream, that is a female in heat. Males do not make that call, but they have a similar scream in return to her. Now the hind legs on the cougar give them the ability to bound outward 30 feet off the rocks, 18 feet straight up in the air. That means from a sitting position alone, they can clear the height and the distance of a fire truck. And that tail serves a purpose. Being one of the climbing cats, they need it for balance, but it does act as a rudder system. Good boy. That's a lot of spit. So we've got Savo, Masai, and Tango over there. These are our 3 lion cubs. They are only 10 months old, and right now they're weighing in at about 150 pounds. However, in another 11 months, they will weigh up to 450 pounds. That's how quickly they grow. A little further into the tour, you will meet their older brothers, who are 2 years old, so you'll see how big these guys will get, how fast they will grow. But when lions are born, even though they are not the biggest cat in the world, the tiger is, they're actually born bigger than tigers. These guys are born at about 1 pound to 2.5 pounds. Then they're having growth spurts between 0.5 pound to 3 pounds in a day. They need to be almost maxed out by age 2. Now the mane on the lion will start to develop. Usually by age 1, they look like a weed whacker took to them. It's all scrappy little furs. But by age 2, they start developing a really good full mane. But it takes up to 5 years for that mane to grow in. So it's a long time before it reaches its full potential. Now, these guys are litter mates. Aurora over there are female. Cats are solitary, only coming together for breeding. And that's exactly what these 2 are. One of a couple breeding pairs you'll meet today on the tour. Now this, and you say hello? Say hello. Good boy. This is the Siberian lynx, more commonly known as the Eurasian lynx, which is the largest of the 4 subspecies of lynx. They're also the most widely distributed. So you'll find them not just in Siberia, but all through Northern Europe, Norway, Sweden. We have them down into the Middle East, and we have them into the high altitudes of the Himalayas. So contrary to belief, they do not change color with the season. They're born to the colors of their environment. Now as that winter coat comes in, that is lighter, but the base coat will remain the same. Excuse me. Now the big feet on the lynx do serve a purpose. Getting thick tufts of fur in between the toes and the pads of their feet so they can walk on top of the snow and not sink through. The pads of a cat's feet are designed to dissipate their body weight so that when they walk silently. And when a cat walks, it's called shadow stepping. Notice how that back leg will land exactly where the front foot just lifted off from every time, because it learns.
Come on, I got stuck over here.
Come
You can come scare him too.
I'm not gonna over there.
Come here.
Everybody at the otter
No,
spot.
I'm not with you.
So Dexter here, Dexter, is called the black spotted leopard. But in truth, there is absolutely no such thing whatsoever as a black cat. It does not exist. He has what is called a melanistic coat. Just like the melanin in our genetics, it gives us different hair colors, different skin tones. Animals that have a high amount appear black, but as he comes up, look close. He's red. He's brown. He is a spotted leopard. Let's see him, bud. Patterns are on the skin. They're just harder to see through that deeper pigmentation. Now, they are also called panthers. Absolutely no such thing whatsoever as a panther either. Never was. Not as a species, anyway. Panther is nothing more than a nickname, and it coms from the scientific word panthera, which is the genus given to the cats with the ability to roar. But it does also mean coat of one color. So black leopards, black jaguars, cougars, you can refer to them as panthers, but as an actual species, it does not exist. Now the leopard is the most elite athlete in the cat family. From a sitting position alone, they can clear 20 feet straight up, 40 feet straight out. And incredibly powerful. All cats can take down prey 2 to 3 times their own body weight. But the leopard can then turn and deadlift that 200 to 400 pounds just in its jaws. They'll carry their prey high up into the trees where they can consume their meal without risk of injury from someone trying to steal what they've worked so hard to obtain. 1 out of every 10 hunts results in a kill for your big cats. So you could go several days, a week even, without eating. But by bringing your food up into the trees, you're more likely you get to hold on to it. Remain in the wild. This cat will be extinct in the next 2 to 3 years. It was sought after for its coat. It takes 6 to 7 full-grown leopards to make one fur coat. That took hundreds of thousands of these cats out. Habitat loss and destruction was a major issue. At one time, they did roam all the way down into northern China. Manchuria were once even known as the Manchurian leopard. Now are solely limited to the Amur River Valley in Russia, Siberia. So they share territory with the Siberian tiger, which means they share the same prey, and that is scarce. Now the Russians did protect this cat, put a ban on hunting, even dedicated some land to them. Of course, right after they did that, they put the pipelines to go right through the heart of their territory. So regardless, we are losing this cat at a rapid rate. This is the only way to see the Amur leopard again. Now, Reina is registered within the SSP, and we are hoping one day to have a mate for her, so we can at least add to the captive populations. Because right now, we only have 172 left in the entire world that are available for the breeding program, and it's not enough. You need at least 3,000 unrelated individuals in order to maintain. Anything on any cat is for a purpose. Nothing is for show. It's all about how they hunt and what they eat. Hunting mice, their favorite food, begins with those big ears. Hearing so acute, they can hear the wings of a bat flap, something we physically cannot do. Now, each ear in any cat has 32 muscles, and the ears of a cat can be rotated independently forward and backwards 180 degrees around, so they can hear in front and behind them all at the same time. That's when they hear a mouse. Legs come in handy next. Built for speed. Second fastest cat, second only to the cheetah. These cats have been clocked between 40 and 45 miles an hour. But mice are quick and they burrow. Sheena, get the mouse. They'll reach all the way down into a mouse hole. With that meat hook claw, bring out a nice easy meal. Now all cats can swim, not all cats care for water. This cat will tolerate it, hunting in the shallows. No wait for little fish to come close to shore. She should demonstrate right there, reaching in, grabbing a nice easy meal. Now one other hunting tactic is employed, and that's called a high arc pounce, with the ability to leap upwards of 12 feet in the air, higher than a basketball hoop. They leap up, arcing the body, coming down on all fours onto large prey, stunning it so that they can consume without risk of injury. Now the serval is not an endangered cat, but they are threatened, and that's due to its fur. Now we're not wearing it as a fur coat, but it does look like cheetah. And most people don't realize this, cheetahs don't have stripes. They have only what's called banding around the tail. Well, this cat doesn't just have banding, it has spots and stripes. Many of our small and medium cats do. And there's a market that's called the trinket trade, where tourists think that they're buying products, little novelty items made from cheetah fur, when they are in fact getting serval. Other areas, poison can be a concern. Because around farmers' crops where you find mice, you will find the serval. But Africa still uses DDT. So the mouse eats the poison, cat eats, which means fluid on the brain. Now that can be a genetic condition, but animals born with that, if left untreated, do not make it past the first year or two of life. But it is also caused by abuse. Knowing Cece's life, odds are, this is why you'll see sometimes she falls back on her back legs. She's got a little bit of a wiggle and a wobble when she walks, and a little bit of a head tilt. But she is absolutely thriving. And despite everything she's been through, you would think she'd either be fearful or aggressive towards people. She's probably one of the sweetest cats we have here and gets so super excited when she sees who's coming to take care of her every day. Come here, baby. Now, ocelots are found in South and Central America, but as early as the 1980s, you could find them roaming freely through the United States. But the 60s started the decline of their population, starting with the fur trade. Everybody wanted an ocelot fur coat. That pattern is gorgeous. That fur is very soft. But the cost, 30 lives have to be taken in order to create one fur coat. And in just a 3-year span of time, 5-month span of time, over 400,000 ocelots were taken from the wilds to meet the fur demand. Then the 70s and the 80s came along, and the pet trade happened. Everybody wanted the ocelot for a pet. They think it's the size of a small dog. They can easily handle it. Found out very quickly these. Here, boys!
Huh?
Come on, Baku! Yeah, come on. There you go. Roll it over. Baku! Tink! Come on. Let's go. Come on, let's go.
Wow, so pretty.
Massive.
So this is Tank, that is Baku. These are our 2-year-old male lions. So technically they are adults, but they do have another year and a half. Males with the dominant male, 2, 3, 15 or more females. And all of the females in the prides are related. Their mothers, daughters, sisters, nieces, aunts, cousins. All of the cubs come from the dominant male. Now his life is dictated to him through that mane. That mane causes him to sleep 20 to 22 hours a day. It is hot under all of that fur. Sleeping helps regulate a cat's body temperature. It helps keep them cool. It's a status symbol. Studies have shown darker manes, fuller manes, more females are attracted to it. Darker manes mean more testosterone, more likely to produce stronger, healthier offspring. Now they can't hunt because of that mane. And it's not about camouflage. It's all about smell. Male lions do not groom at all. They have heavy oils in their fur. And they use those oils to mark territory, rubbing up against things, leaving it behind. It's how they communicate. It says to other lions, this is my pride, my territory, back off. I will defend it. That is his only job. He is the defender, the protector. Come here, baby. Oh. That's just rude. So this is Petra. And Petra here is a Bengal tiger, one of 5 species of tiger that can still be found in the wild. There is, however, a 6th that can only be found in captivity. That is your South China tiger. Less than 60 of those cats remain. You have Malayans, Sumatrans, Indochinas. Those 3 can be found in the wild. Combined, numbers are around 750 left. However, the Indochina has now been classified as functionally extinct, which means there is not enough of them to maintain their populations. In the next 5 to 7 years, they are facing extinction. You have Siberian tigers, which are your biggest cats in the world, 600, 700 plus pounds. Between 200 to 400 remain. Bengals, like Petra here, are doing fairly well. 26 to 2,700 remain, which in comparison, yeah, that sounds great. But in actuality, tigers occupy only 3% of their historical range. In the last 20 years alone, more than 80% of tigers have been taken from the wilds. It is a $20 billion a year industry on the black market just for tiger parts. And it's estimated we have no more than 10 to 12 years left before this cat faces extinction in the wild. But she is not black at all. She is spotted. Shave all that fur off, she'll have a spotting pattern on her similar to that of Spunky back there. But the jaguar, pound for pound, is the world's strongest cat, 3rd strongest predator. When you measure the strength of a predator, it has absolutely nothing to do with size. It is all about the bite. How much pressure can they exude when biting onto their prey? Absolutely nothing is off limits to a jag. These cats can crush turtle shells, get at the meat. They're the only ones that can. They're one of the few cats that do enjoy water for both leisure and for hunting. 8-foot Cayman alligator, 20-foot anaconda, they go after it. A 1,200-pound prey item, one jaguar can easily take down. That would require the strength of 6 to 7 female lions to do so. Their bite force is 2,000 pounds of pressure per square inch. Only 2 animals in the world are stronger than that. Nile crocodile and alligator snapping turtle. Hyenas come in at 4 on the bite force scale. Now to give you an idea of why size doesn't matter. You guys like great white sharks? It's too bad if you do. They come in at 22. Anybody have a chihuahua? Somebody's always got a chihuahua. That 6-pound little dog comes in at 18 on the bite force scale. Pound for pound, bite per square inch is how you formulate predator strength. When you want to talk brute force, size is part of those equations. Now this is a South and Central American cat, but as early as the 1800s, they did roam all through the United States. Right here where we are today, 300-pound jaguars one time lived. And they maintained territories all the way across the Pennsylvania and south, taking up 28 countries at one time. We're down to 13. Now the United States is not considered one of the deserts of the Middle East. Western India even became the African lynx or the desert lynx. When you look at the tufts of fur and the ears, we associate that with a lynx. This cat isn't related to a lynx at all. In fact, its closest living relative is a big cat, cougar. Second closest living relative is a medium-sized cat, the African gold cat. Ready? Catch? Boy. Now the caracal is known for its leaping ability and reaction time. These cats can leap 10 to 15 feet in the air, and they like to dive through piles of ground birds, flushing them out. As the birds fly up and away, the cat will leap up and take down as many as it can with its fast paws, usually 4 or 5 at a time. And at one time, Indian and Persian royalty did try to domesticate this cat, holding competitions. If you had a caracal, you could enter. If it took down the most birds for the day, you were deemed royalty. Knighthood in one case. Record caracal leaped 13 feet 7 inches in the air and took down 11 birds in one leap. Now they get the name caracal from the Turkish word karakulak, which means black ear. Best way to describe this cat, since there is no descriptive pattern to them. And that is what has kept them safe. Safe from the fur trade anyway. There are only 30 on display in the United States. Saki here is the Asian fishing cat, named for precisely what she eats, fish. 74% of their diet is fish. Can be best swimmers in the cat family. That'll help them grasp onto those slippery little prey items. And all cats do have the ability to retract their claws. One exception, that is the cheetah. Now the fishing cat can retract its claws, but for hunting they'll leave the nails out. And what they do is they take the tip of the nail and they'll tickle the surface of the water. This looks like Bugs Landing, attracting fish closer up to the surface for a much easier grab. But they can fully submerge and swim under the water. So that fur is a wetsuit. Cats have both an outer coat and an undercoat. And if you have a house cat, you know that underbelly is soft. Go from the head to the tail, fur is smooth. Go in opposite directions, you'll feel textures in their fur. Well, her outer coat is coarse in both directions, even has heavy oils to it, so that when it does fully submerge, they'll come out of the water and do several shakes just like a dog and be completely dry. In fact, they have more dog-like behaviors than cat-like behaviors. They are not graceful like a cat in any way, and they even bark similar to that of a small dog. Found in Southeast Asia, Thailand, Borneo. Unfortunately, this is the most recent cat to have found its home on the endangered species list. I have a house cat in a cage. I don't. I have a house cat. 3 in fact. They live in my house where they belong. She is a wild animal, but there is a reason why she looks like a house cat. Nyla here is the African wildcat. Now the African wildcat, along with our Chinese desert cats, European wilds, and Scottish wilds, they are all the ancestor to the house cat. This is where it began. Well over 10,000 years ago, Egyptians saw how well these cats were at hunting mice, brought them in around their grains to control rodent population. Europeans, when they came over on the ships, they brought the European wilds with them for the same purpose. Over time, forming a partnership between man and cat. But true domestication didn't happen until the 1600s, which is really not that long ago if you think about it. So now we have feral cats. Feral and wild are 2 completely different things. Feral is a product from domestication. By us not spaying and neutering our cats, feral cats exist. You can find feral cats anywhere people are. They have a desire to be around us because they understand that we are a source for food. Wildcats, they see us as predators. They're going to find them to go out looking for them. But it is because of the feral cat that this cat now faces extinction. Feral cats are everywhere. They also get into cargo ships, they'll get dumped off into ports all over. They're so genetically close to their wild counterpart that they can breed with each other, creating hybrids. They have completely depleted the wild's gene. So you cannot look at this cat anymore and tell the difference. Top scientists can't even do it. You now have to do genetics testing. Now, Nyla, unfortunately, is one of only 2 African wildcats left in the entire United States. But we are working with some facilities in Africa that have done some breeding, so hopefully we should be stateside here in the next couple of weeks. So this is Banshee, and Banshee is another white tiger. We met one in the beginning, we met Sugar. Now you can definitely see those color variations with the stripes. Banshee's got those gorgeous dark stripes, whereas Sugar's got those light yellow stripes. But Banshee and her brother Beowulf were born here at the park. So we're very, very proud of these guys because they were our first tigers ever born with us in 40 years of operation. Now tigers, when they're born between a pound and a half, but they're having growth spurts between 3.5 pounds a day, averaging about 1 pound to 2 pounds a day. They need to be almost full grown by age 2, because that's when mom says, out, I'm done with you. Go find a mate, go find a territory, and please God, hunt for your own food. Imagine being a single mom with 4 of them on your hands that you gotta feed. You want them out quick, so they need to know how to survive. Now, males stop growing between the ages of 3 and 4, females between the ages of 2 and 3. Now, Banshee here is 7 years old, so she is full grown at about 350 pounds. She is the spitting image of her mama. But her brother Beowulf, who is also here, he is the spitting image of his dad, Scooby, our heavyweight, 550 pounds. Beowulf comes in a little shy of that, 540 pounds. Good girl. I'm done. I did my thing. I came up and looked cute. Questions on Banshee? One. Turbo here is the bobcat, native cat to North America. Now they are also in the lynx family. This is the 4th subspecies of lynx, so that makes them cousins to each other. Now, being that they are related, they share a lot of similarities. Similar ear tufts, similar cheek ruffs, those rabbit-like back legs. Now the pattern on the bobcat is similar to that of his European cousins like Stoli and Aurora, who we met. Whereas the Canadian lynx that can be found only in the very uppermost parts of North America, they are a solid gray with a white underbelly, so they don't...
See how there's one male and a bunch of females? There's a male over there. They're all following him around. Come out into the sun, peacock. I want to see your colors. You alright, baby? Yeah, peacock isn't coming up very well. There he is. Because he was in the shade, his colors weren't coming up. Yeah. Your collar, yeah.
one there. It was the color. I didn't get it colder. That was going on. When we weren't supposed to leave the house, I did that.